the shelf of shame.
A crunch in our camera shots too.
What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? Wherever you are in the verse, what is up, my friends? So we have just finished our very first playthrough of Firefly Adventures, Brigands Browncoats. This is by Gale Force 9. Let's see what the 20-sided warriors have to think about this game. So far, I think Gale Force 9 has been hitting it out of the park, but that's for the other games. Why don't we talk about this game here? And we got ourselves Ramen. What's up, brother?
Going well.
You are a fan, so this is going to be interesting hearing from you, that's for sure. But, you know, our Oregon Al, he's a fan of the game as well.
Yeah.
The game and the show.
Yep, seen the whole thing.
All right, and the movie, so also interesting. And closing it out over here, we got T-Bone.
Yeah.
And he's another fan of the series. Myself and Rob are only casual fans, so this is going to be really interesting to hear what three good fans of the show think about it. Now, Ryan, you're saying you wanted to talk about the theme.
Yeah, so kind of working off of the whole being fan of the show, one of the things that I like about games in general is I love looking into the thematics and thinking of how a game works thematically in relation to the source material if it's based on something previously. With this being based on Firefly, I thought this did a really good job of capturing that theme just through the small little differences, like nuances amongst the characters and like how you're interacting with the different objectives. So like one thing we were mentioning is that when you do engage with the different cards, you have two different modes. You have casual mode, which is you just kind of being sly and working through your character, and then you have your heroic side, which is you just flip over your card and go to your heroic part. And that's great from the show because they do both. They try to talk their way through their little scenarios, or they try to fight their way through if that's what it comes down to. So that was a cool little mechanic for this as far as the game goes. And each individual character has little nuances about that. So like for Malcolm and for Zoe, it's kind of easy for them to get in and out. They could be combat oriented, they could kind of talk their way through and get out. But for someone like Kaylee, if she wanted to try to kind of weasel her way out of a situation, it would be a little bit harder because she's not used to having to deal with that. She's not used to talking her way out of her way through goons or whatever. And Wash kind of is sly and he's easy to get in and out of his situations. But yeah, just the way that like they have all like the different items that everyone has. Jane's hat is one of the things, so that was cool. Malcolm's dress and his pretty little bonnet were another thing.
Your tight pants.
The tight pants, yeah, Malcolm's tight pants and his gun. So that was all cool, and like the way that the cards, the flavor text on the cards, the challenge cards works out is great because you do really get the sense of you are talking your way out of this situation. You are, bluffing and bribing your way past guards instead of trying to fight them. And that with them being the pirates and cowboys and with it being space westerns, it worked out really well, I think, thematically, tying it into the show, making it feel like it really was a mid-episode of the show, or actually felt like it was in the universe, in the Firefly, or in the verse, as they would say.
Now, Alex, you wanted to touch on something about this game.
Yeah, and actually building on what he said, like in the show, these jobs can go sideways. So like in our scenario, when you go in this building, you roll a dice to see, well, what is the objective really?
Right.
Because you're told at the outset of the job, well, the objective's in this building, but you're not told what it is. Mm-hmm. And so it can be an ambush, it can be an escort mission where you have to escort a dude out. In our case, it was like a safe that we had to lug out of there. Right. So it's also, I feel like that's very fitting with the theme of the show, where it's like, well, you get this job and you're told what it is, but sometimes what they tell them isn't exactly what the job ends up being.
It's the beginning of Serenity. They go into the bank and the vault's empty.
Yeah. Right. So I want to talk about the turn mechanic, the way actions, like who goes next, is determined, and it's really cool in this. Every action uses a number of moments, which is action points in some games, but it moves you up the scale. And each job, each scenario starts out with so many moments that you have. So you have to, in our case, this had 40 moments. So we had 40 little slots that we had to beat this, we had to complete the job in that 40 time. If we didn't, we lose.
Right.
And then whose turn it is who is at the lowest moment on the board. And then if people were stacked on top of each other, like let's say Wash was on top of Kaylee, Wash would go before Kaylee. So it's a really cool way that works. And you know, the way characters end up on top of each other is, well, if Kaylee went and she went too, she'd be on top of Jane, even though, you know, Jane was there. Then Zoe would go, and so Kaylee would go first, and then Jane, which is it's cool because it rewards the last person to go on top because they'll get to go first if they're all tied. We didn't alert any of the thugs or cowboys.
We're so good at our job.
So it would have been interesting to see how that mixed in there. But yeah, I think we all really enjoyed the action point system. And I've seen like video games do similar systems, and I love it when they do something a little bit more clever than the next person to your left goes.
Hey, Anthony, what was on your mind about this game?
I just want to talk about the aesthetics of the game, the characters and the buildings. I like anything where it's an easy setup, and this is definitely one of the ones that's an easy setup. You get these beautiful looking little character pieces. You know me and the meeples and the character pieces. I kind of like the way they pretty much represent everything that you would see in Firefly, which is important, especially when you're playing a themed property like this. I love the buildings. I mean, this is just simple cardboard, but this is well done. Looks very nice. The best thing about it, here's your... There. Now you're done putting your stuff away. That's great. So you don't have to worry about, does this fit in the box right? Was this in the bag? I like that. I like the way everything looks, but the one thing we did find in the game is we were too good at talking to guards.
We got a lot of good rolls, and good cards came up for challenges.
When the lowest roll coming from me was a 3, everything else was at least 4 and up. You know, you've had a great day of rolling. We did. Alex was very good in pointing out that we were only supposed to spend $3,000 total between the 5 of us. We wound up spending $3,000 each.
Yeah.
As you can see, we still have a good amount of money left over. We had a lot of people with gun actions. These guns were dormant.
Yep.
All right? People like this, these are the bad guys. Well, we were able to talk to these bad guys to go take a look around the corner while we were just going to go through doors. So I cannot speak, great enough on how good the combat system is. We never got into combat.
Yeah.
So we don't know. But as far as pulling off the job and the way the game looks, we did it flawlessly, I thought. It was nice. I didn't expect much, but this exceeded expectations. It was really good.
Yeah.
So you're all in agreement that rule-wise...
Clunky.
Yeah.
Well, that's the setup of the rule book.
Clunky.
Yeah.
The rules themselves, I think, are good.
They're straightforward.
Yeah, the game flows really smoothly once you know the rules.
Once you get through the rule
Once
book.
you ingest this weird...
Yeah, the rule book was not easy for any of us to get through.
No.
It's not set up very well. It doesn't... There's not a lot of structure to it. It's just like, okay, this is this thing, this is the other thing. You can do this, you can do that.
Right.
You get references to stuff that ends up being 4 pages later.
Yeah.
Described, so it's.
Alex had a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, they should have had an index because indexes are good.
Yes.
And they could have also just put in quotes like line of sight, page 12, whatever, and so that it would help you look around and find stuff. I didn't find the rules hard to understand. You just have to read through the whole rule book, and then you're like, oh, now I understand.
Right.
So I think it might just be a rule book that you have to read twice to understand, because the first time you're reading everything and you're like, yeah, I don't know what that is yet. Yeah, I don't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
And then the second time through, you're like, all right, now I get it. It's just structured strangely.
But once you get through that, the rules flow fairly well, logical. Right? We're all in agreement with that.
We really didn't have to reference them much as we started playing because it was,
That's true. We
It
didn't.
was laid out well.
It's true. We didn't.
And it was also a game that, we've played some other things where trying to read through the rules, it kind of does get a lot.
Yeah.
It's very technical,
Right.
so we're always like, let's just dive in and get started and see what happens. I felt after reading through the book prior to playing, I was like, okay, I have a good handle on what's coming. So I will give it that. Like, it was, just as far as being organized, it wasn't the best. but it did do a good job of describing it.
I think the rules are pretty clean too, and how things work. Like a skill check is a skill check, no matter tech,
Good point. Yeah.
combat, or negotiation. It's all the same basic rules. Shooting's a little different, but I don't think that's overly complex. It's how many spaces. That's how hard it is to make the shot.
Right.
And I actually don't know how brawling works, so we
We didn't get into any of that.
This was the smoothest.
So
thing
the
I've
rules
ever-
we like.
Yeah.
We the components we think are amazing.
Yep.
We also saw that how this could be a good campaign game as well.
It has a campaign mode, which we did not start yet.
No.
No. The campaign, I read a little bit. It's like 3 jobs, try and get to $10,000 and you win. So it's cool that you get to build up your arsenal and build up your characters a little, but at the same time, if you're looking for a deep campaign game, I don't know that this is the one to choose.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if they do a more complicated, in-depth
With the
campaign
expansions,
mode.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would be good because it's a great property.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't have enough.
And obviously, even without the lack of available missions, there's like 4, I think, that comes with it.
yeah.
Right off the top of your head, you think that means there's no replayability. So it may be limited to the number of missions, but I think each game is going to be just as exciting as your first game.
And the thing about the story mode that it does do is it does give you more incentive to go and do this side stuff in the mission. In our case, we just barge right into the objective, get the objective, and deal
Smash
with
and
it.
grab.
There's cargo, which gets you loot. This is $1,000, which is more useful if you're doing a story mode.
And as you guys pointed out before, the objective will actually change. So you could play the same mission 2-3 times, and it could be a lot different.
We could have done
Randomized.
this one, and instead of saying, you know what, Zoe, take the safe, stay there for a minute. We're going to try and do some of the side stuff first and see if we can get away with everything.
Well, we got lucky because the lights went out and we wanted to take advantage of
Lights
it.
went out. You guys were able to move me basically a lot. Yeah, so.
Yeah, because Wash could move Zoe.
Specifically Zoe, which
Zoe.
again,
Specific
back to the
talent.
thematics, makes complete
Correct.
sense.
Right.
And then
Malcolm was there supporting his crew, being able to move everybody around.
We did
the
a
way
lot of
he needs
meandering.
to.
Yeah.
A lot of meandering.
And it was a lot of strategy, especially in this particular one where we couldn't be within 5 boxes of each other without setting them the goons off, knowing that we're not casual anymore. We're heroic. Line in the sand.
Line in the sand.
So the strategy level is different from mission to mission.
Mm-hmm.
So that's again, I think something else that's good for replayability.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think overall this game gets high marks.
Totally.
I'm shocked it was on the shelf of shame.
It just took a while to finally get it to the table. No reason other than it just didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for Nathan Fillion.
He's an actor, right?
That's right.
I really enjoyed this game. Replayability is the only concern because there are only 4 missions. The expansions do add more, but when there's only 4 missions, that's always the concern. So if you're looking for a game to play time after time after time, I think this one you might wear out quicker than some others.
It's gonna go fast. Yeah. It's definitely will.
But other than that, it's great, and it was quick. We played it in an hour and a half.
Hour and a half for the very first game, learning the rules as we went.
And they obviously that's with discussing and strategizing and being very particular about everybody's moves.
Yeah.
For a miniatures game like that, that is fast.
That is very quick.
All right, so I think those are some great points. I agree with them all, except everything you said. All right, so that was our first thought after our run-through. If you didn't watch it, go and check it out, the live playthrough we did, and you'll be able to see everything we were talking about and how we completed this mission. All right, so for myself and the 20-sided Warriors, we are out of here.